Gold is up today after that nasty sell-off last week. In fact, bullion has recovered about half of that one-day plunge of 9% that it saw last Monday, but it's still down 15% so far this year. Beacon Securities analyst Michael Curren does expect gold to continue rising from here, and he says the juniors have the most to gain. He joins us now. It's great to see you, Michael.
Good to see you, Andrew.
I mean, I think the consensus out there is the juniors are not the consensus. A lot of investors fear the juniors are dead in the water here, and the seniors don't want to take on their projects. They're all struggling with a pretty full bill, rising costs. But you think the juniors are something to look at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically our view is, like we heard back at PDAC, a month ago, the big mining conference, there's hundreds and hundreds of these junior explorers with no cash on the balance sheet, so they're struggling. I mean, I think it's going to be difficult for a lot of these guys to raise money, and if they do, they've got a significant dilution ahead of them to raise money. So what we've focused on is that small contingent of explorers that have actually got money in the balance sheet and can keep the drills turning.
So you'd be wary of people who do need to raise financing because they might have to issue stock at 2 cents or something.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think there's going to be some opportunity for good projects that just ran out of money, but I think there's lots of less developed projects that are early stage that are going to have difficulty raising money in this market.
Before we get to your stock picks, it's interesting that you're kind of avoiding the producers right now amid this debate of what are their costs.
Well, there's two things, two issues I think in the producer space that keeps us away from it right now is that one is like you said, that big debate going on cash costs, which is the traditional way. The producers have been talking about how what it costs them to get the gold out of the ground. I mean, recently it's probably around 700, 750 cash, and everyone's talking about all-in costs now because clearly those cash costs don't convert into profit margin because there's several other items that the producers have to pay for. So what's difficult to see, it's tough for investors because I mean, the companies themselves, the producers are saying their all-in costs are $1,000 to $1,200. Last week I saw a broker that put out numbers that were $1,300 to $1,500. Wow. This morning I saw on this program another brokerage is saying it's $1,700, $1,800, $1,900. So for an investor, it's like, well, what is the real number? I think we're going to have to wait a quarter or so. Sort of this summer, the World Gold Council is going to come out with the guidelines, and then I think we'll have a much even playing surface to see who's producing the most amount of cash flow from their projects. You're right. There
seems to be loads of confusion. Well, let's get to some of the ideas you have for the viewers. The number one, Premier Gold. I mean, these guys have a deposit in Canada, has more than 7 million ounces. Not the only thing they have. Tell us why you like them.
Well, basically, we're looking for a number of issues for a junior gold explorer. We want to see those low political risk assets. We want to see a good management team. We want to see cash in the balance sheet, like we said earlier. And then high grade, I think, is the other issue that I think is more important because certainly the big producers are always more interested in high grade. So Premier, it's low political risk. They're in Ontario and Nevada. They've got high grade projects. Their main asset in Beardmore-Geraldton in Northern Ontario has got TransCanada. The Hard Rock deposit itself's got 6.5 million ounces. And the TransCanada is 7.7. So we're waiting. We're going to get a preliminary economic study in Q3. But I think there's lots of evidence that that's an economic project. It could be a nice open pit plus underground mine. And I think it's more than big enough now to be economic.
Kaminak Gold is your next pick, and they're up in the Yukon. I mean, I was actually just talking to a mining executive who told me a lot of the euphoria over the Yukon has kind of faded because people realize it's costly to operate up there.
Absolutely. I mean, the big early success stories were Kaminak and Attack. Then we saw 30, 40 juniors, pick up ground a couple summers ago. A lot of them even, they didn't get drilling in 2010 or 11. So they might have did some drilling in 2012. But really, I think the two, Kaminak and Attack, still seem to be the leading plays up there in the Yukon. I prefer the Kaminak because it's oxide, it's near surface, it's already over 3 million ounces, so it's a little closer to Dawson City, so the infrastructure is a little better. So I think that's a real possibility to be an economic deposit. They brought in new management, Ira Thomas, well-known.
Stornoway boss.
Stornoway, and she was with Aber for years. She's a very strong management addition for the company. So again, they've got 16 million. They're going to spend. They've got $11 million budget for this summer. So lots of drills will be turning and lots of drill results in the summer. So.
And then you've one a little further out on the risk spectrum, Curren, and they got this project in Mexico. Tell us why you like this one.
Yeah, Curren's got two main projects in Mexico. I mean, the main sort of the one that a lot of people know is Morales Sur, which is in the Guerrero Gold Belt. So a lot of the recent success stories, things like Torex and Newstrike, Goldcorp's got a couple of deposits there at Los Filos. These things have all turned into 2, 3, 5 million ounce deposits. Curren is sort of surrounding Goldcorp. They funded their exploration by selling some of their claims to Goldcorp for like 15.7 million in cash.
They must have some pretty good, promising ore down there.
The most interesting thing is they've got a sliver of ground between the two open pits of Goldcorp, and Goldcorp's already told the market several times they'd like to expand Los Filos. So. You know, they need to buy that, get that asset off of Curren.
Oh, I see.
Plus, they have the big geophysical anomaly that, up to now, most of those geophysical anomalies have turned into, like I said, 2 to 5 million ounce deposits, and they're just drilling theirs right now.
And just tell us the Guerrero belt of Mexico. Why is it so important?
Well, it's one of the main areas for gold production in Mexico. I mean, I think Los Filos is one of the largest gold mines in Mexico. It's 400,000 ounces a year, so a very big area. Torex is building a mine next door, so there's lots of activity in the Guerrero Gold Belt.
Michael, amid the gloom in gold, you gave us some investing ideas. Thanks very much.
Hey, my pleasure.
We've been joined by Beacon Securities analyst Michael Curren, and I'll throw up a quick tweet later if you didn't catch all the names of the companies Michael mentioned there, or of course you can go to bnn.ca. Great to have Michael join us, though. Coming up, we're going to be talking